equals the ice that burns. The wind screamed across the frozen surface of Arcturus 3 like the voice of a dying god. Sarah Chen pressed her face against the reinforced window of Research Station Alpha 7, watching ice crystals dance in the pale light of the distant twin suns. The temperature outside was minus 40 degrees Celsius on a warm day. Today was not a warm day. "Mama, look what I made." Maya's bright voice cut through Sarah's worried thoughts. Her 6-year-old daughter held up a drawing made with recycled paper and synthetic crayons. The picture showed 2 stick figures standing under a yellow sun, surrounded by green grass and blue flowers. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," Sarah said, kneeling down to examine the artwork. "Tell me about it." "That's you and me when we go back to Earth," Maya explained, her dark eyes sparkling with excitement. "We'll have a house with a garden, and I'll plant real flowers that smell nice." Sarah's heart clenched. Maya had never seen Earth, never felt warm soil between her fingers or smelled real flowers. She had been born on this ice-locked research station, where her mother studied the planet's unique mineral formations. The company promised they would return to Earth when Maya turned 7. That was still 8 months away. "The flowers will be beautiful," Sarah said, pulling her daughter close. "Just like you." The station shuddered suddenly, a deep vibration that seemed to come from the very core of the planet. Sarah frowned. Seismic activity was rare on Arcturus 3. The planet was geologically stable, which made it perfect for deep-core mining research. "Mama, what was that?" Maya asked, her small hand gripping Sarah's arm. Before Sarah could answer, the lights flickered. Then again. Then they went out completely, plunging the station into darkness. Emergency lighting kicked in a moment later, bathing everything in an eerie red glow. Sarah's training kicked in immediately. She was the station's chief maintenance engineer, responsible for keeping all systems running in this hostile environment. The backup power should have activated seamlessly. The fact that there was even a moment of darkness meant something was seriously wrong. "Maya, I need you to stay right here," Sarah said, helping her daughter into the padded reading chair. "Don't move from this spot, okay?" "Are we in trouble, Mama?" Sarah forced a smile. "No, sweetheart. Mama just needs to check the power systems. I'll be right back." She grabbed her emergency toolkit and headed for the main control room. The corridors felt different in the red emergency lighting, more cramped and threatening. Her breath formed small clouds in the rapidly cooling air. The heating systems were definitely offline. The control room was a maze of blinking displays and warning lights. Sarah's trained eye quickly identified the problem. It wasn't a system failure. Something had deliberately damaged the main power coupling from the outside. "Computer, show external camera feeds," she commanded. The main screen flickered to life, showing views from cameras mounted around the station's exterior. What Sarah saw made her blood freeze colder than the air around her. They were everywhere. Tall, angular figures moving across the ice with fluid grace. Their bodies seemed to be made of crystalline material that reflected the station's lights like living glass. They carried weapons that glowed with the same pale blue light as their eyes. Sarah had never seen anything like them, but she knew what they were. The company had briefed all personnel about the theoretical possibility of encountering hostile alien life. These beings moved with purpose and intelligence. They had cut the power deliberately. This was an invasion. She activated the emergency communication system. Static filled the speakers. The aliens had jammed all outgoing signals. Alpha 7 was completely cut off from the outside universe. Another shudder ran through the station, followed by the distinct sound of metal being torn apart. They were forcing their way inside. Sarah ran back to Maya, her mind racing through options. The emergency shelter was their best bet. It was designed to maintain life support for up to a week if the main station systems failed, maybe long enough for a rescue ship to arrive. Though without communications, no one would know they needed help. "Maya, we're going on an adventure," Sarah said, trying to keep her voice calm and playful. "Remember the emergency shelter I showed you? We're going to camp there for a while." "Like camping," with marshmallows. Just like camping, baby. Sarah grabbed the emergency supply kit and Maya's favorite stuffed animal, a worn blue elephant named Mr. Snuggles. She could hear the aliens moving through the station now, their crystalline feet making sharp clicking sounds on the metal floors. The emergency shelter was located in the deepest part of the station, accessible through a maintenance tunnel that most people didn't know existed. Sarah had designed the route herself during the station's construction. If the aliens were following standard search patterns, they might miss it entirely. The tunnel was narrow and cold, barely wide enough for an adult to crawl through. Maya squeezed through easily, chattering about their adventure, while Sarah's heart pounded with terror. Behind them, she could hear the aliens systematically searching each room. The shelter was a small dome-shaped chamber with its own air recycling system and emergency food supplies. Sarah sealed the entrance behind them and activated the life support systems. The shelter hummed to life, but she could already tell something was wrong. The heating unit was struggling against the rapidly dropping temperature. "It's cold, Mama," Maya said, shivering in her thin station clothes. Sarah checked the environmental readings. The aliens had done more than just cut the main power. They had somehow damaged the station's entire thermal regulation system. The temperature inside the shelter was dropping steadily. At this rate, they would freeze to death within hours. She opened the emergency supply locker, pulling out thermal blankets and heating packs. There were only 2 heating packs, and they would last maybe an hour each. Not nearly enough. "Maya, come here," Sarah said, spreading the thermal blankets on the floor. "We're going to play a warm-up game." She wrapped Maya in both blankets, then held her close, trying to share her body heat. The little girl's skin was already frighteningly cold to the touch. "Tell me about Earth, Mama," Maya whispered, her voice getting weaker. "Earth is warm," Sarah said, rubbing Maya's arms and back. "The sun shines bright and yellow, not pale like here. There are trees everywhere, tall and green, with leaves that dance in the wind. And flowers, so many flowers. Roses that smell like perfume, daisies that look like tiny suns, tulips in every color you can imagine. Will we really go there?" "Yes, baby. We'll go there together." But Sarah knew they wouldn't. The temperature was still dropping. She could feel the cold creeping into her own bones, making her thoughts sluggish. Maya's breathing was becoming shallow and labored. The heating packs were used up. The thermal blankets weren't enough. Sarah made a decision that tore her heart apart. She unwrapped the blankets from around herself and tucked them more tightly around Maya. Then she pressed her body against her daughter, holding her as close as humanly possible. "Mama, you're shaking," Maya said. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just keep talking to me. Tell me what kind of flowers you want to plant." "Purple ones," Maya said drowsily, "and yellow ones, and pink ones like cotton candy." Sarah could feel her own body temperature dropping dangerously low. Her fingers were numb, her toes burning with cold. But Maya felt slightly warmer. Sarah's body heat was transferring to her daughter, keeping her alive for a few more precious minutes. "That sounds beautiful," Sarah whispered. "You'll have the most beautiful garden on Earth." Time seemed to slow down. Sarah's vision began to blur. The cold was like a living thing wrapping around her, pulling her down into darkness. But she held on, focusing all her remaining strength on keeping Maya warm. "I love you, Maya," she whispered, "more than all the stars in the sky." "I love you too, Mama." Sarah's eyes closed. Her breathing became shallow, then stopped altogether. But her arms remained wrapped around her daughter, even in death, her mother's love creating a small pocket of warmth in the frozen shelter. Hours passed. The aliens finished their search of the station and departed, apparently finding nothing of value. The facility fell silent except for the wind howling through the damaged hull. Then, new sounds echoed through the empty corridors. Heavy footsteps, purposeful and human. A voice calling out in standard Earth dialect. "Hello? Anyone alive in here? This is Commander Rex Dalton, Human Defense Corps." Respond if you can hear me." The searcher was methodical, checking each room carefully. His thermal scanner detected faint heat signatures from somewhere deep in the station. Following the readings, he discovered the maintenance tunnel and squeezed through to the emergency shelter. Inside, he found Sarah and Maya huddled together under the thermal blankets. The woman was clearly dead, her body frozen solid. But the child was still breathing, barely alive thanks to her mother's sacrifice. Commander Dalton immediately activated his emergency medical kit. Advanced nanomedical technology began working on both mother and daughter. For Maya, it was a matter of treating severe hypothermia. For Sarah, it was something far more complicated. The nanomedical system detected that Sarah had been clinically dead for less than 4 hours. Her brain activity had ceased, but the extreme cold had preserved her neural pathways. It was theoretically possible to revive her, though it had never been attempted under these conditions. "Come on," Rex muttered, adjusting the medical equipment. "Don't give up on me now." Slowly, incredibly, Sarah's heart began to beat again. Her brain activity resumed. Color returned to her frozen skin. The advanced technology of the Human Defense Corps had literally brought her back from the dead. Sarah's eyes opened to find a stranger in military fatigues leaning over her. She tried to speak, but only managed a weak whisper. "Maya." "She's alive," Rex said gently. "You saved her. She's alive because of you." Tears froze on Sarah's cheeks as she saw her daughter breathing peacefully beside her, wrapped in advanced thermal blankets that pulsed with gentle heat. "Who are you?" Sarah managed to ask. "Commander Rex Dalton, Human Defense Corps. We've been tracking the Kethmoran raiders who hit your station. You're lucky we found you when we did." Kethmoran. The aliens who attacked you. Silicon-based life forms from the Outer Rim. They hit research stations and mining colonies, looking for rare minerals. Usually, they don't leave survivors. Sarah tried to sit up, but her body was still recovering from hypothermia and clinical death. "The station, is it? Heavily damaged but salvageable. The question is, what do we do about the Kethmoran? They'll be back once they realize there are survivors, and my ship isn't equipped to fight off a full raiding fleet." Sarah looked around the small shelter that had become her daughter's tomb and her own resurrection chamber. An idea began to form in her engineer's mind. The station was damaged, but not destroyed. The aliens had been thorough, but they had underestimated human ingenuity. "Commander," she said, her voice growing stronger, "how much do you know about sonic resonance?" "Fire from the ashes." Commander Rex Dalton helped Sarah to her feet, supporting her weight as her body continued to recover from the impossible journey back from death. Maya stirred in her thermal cocoon, her eyes fluttering open to see her mother standing upright. "Mama, you're okay." Maya's voice was weak, but filled with joy. "I'm here, baby," Sarah said, kneeling down to embrace her daughter. "Mama's here." Rex watched the reunion with a mixture of relief and growing concern. His long-range sensors were detecting movement in the outer system. The Kethmoran fleet would return within 12 hours, and this time they would come in force. "Sarah," Rex said gently, "I need to understand what you meant about sonic resonance. My tactical computer shows the Kethmoran have superior firepower in numbers. We need every advantage we can get." Sarah's mind was clearing rapidly as her body temperature normalized. The engineer in her was already analyzing the situation, turning the problem over like a complex equation waiting to be solved. "The Kethmoran are silicon-based life forms, right?" she asked, helping Maya drink some warm nutrient broth from Rex's emergency supplies. "That's correct. Their bodies are essentially living crystal matrices, makes them incredibly resistant to energy weapons and physical damage. But crystals have a weakness," Sarah said, her eyes brightening with the spark of an idea. "Every crystalline structure has a specific resonance frequency. Hit it with the right sonic vibration, and the entire matrix can shatter." Rex frowned. "We don't have sonic weapons. My ship carries standard plasma cannons and kinetic missiles." "We don't need weapons," Sarah said, standing and moving to the shelter's small computer terminal. "We need to turn this entire station into a weapon." She began pulling up the station's technical specifications, her fingers flying over the controls despite their recent frostbite. Rex watched in amazement as complex engineering diagrams filled the screen. Alpha 7 was built for deep-core geological research, Sarah explained. The primary systems include massive seismic resonators designed to map underground mineral deposits. They generate controlled sonic pulses that can penetrate kilometers of solid rock. You want to use mining equipment against alien warships. Not mining equipment. A sonic cannon capable of generating frequencies powerful enough to shatter crystalline matrices across a wide area. Sarah's excitement was growing as the plan took shape in her mind. The resonators are connected to the station's main power grid through a distributed network. If I can recalibrate the frequency generators and synchronize the output. Maya tugged on her mother's sleeve. "Mama, what are you talking about?" Rex was studying the technical diagrams over Sarah's shoulder. "This is incredibly complex. Even if the theory is sound, the power requirements alone." "The station's fusion reactor is still intact," Sarah said. "The aliens damaged the distribution network but left the core systems untouched. They'd probably thought it was too primitive to be a threat. How long would it take to implement?" Sarah did rapid calculations in her head. 8 hours to recalibrate the resonators, maybe 2 more to run full system tests. "But I'll need help. The work has to be done manually in multiple locations throughout the station." "I can assist with the technical modifications," Rex said. "My combat engineering training covers basic systems integration." "And I can help too," Maya announced proudly. Both adults looked at the 6-year-old with gentle amusement. Sarah was about to explain that this was grown-up work when she paused. Maya had an unusual gift for understanding complex systems. She often asked questions about her mother's work that revealed insights even experienced engineers missed. "Actually," Sarah said slowly, "Maya might be exactly what we need." Rex raised an eyebrow. "I'm not sure involving a child in combat preparations is advisable." "She's not just any child," Sarah said, pulling up another set of diagrams. "Maya, remember when you asked me why the station makes different humming sounds in different rooms?" "Because the walls are different thicknesses and the air moves differently," Maya replied immediately. Rex's eyes widened. The child had just described acoustic resonance principles that most adults couldn't grasp. "The resonator network covers the entire station," Sarah explained. "Each node needs to be individually calibrated based on its specific location and the acoustic properties of its environment." Maya has an intuitive understanding of how sound behaves in different spaces. "So you want a 6-year-old to help tune a weapons system?" "I want my daughter to help save humanity," Sarah said firmly. "Maya, would you like to help Mama and Commander Rex make the bad aliens go away?" Maya's face lit up with determination. "Yes, let's make them sorry they were mean to us." The next 8 hours were the most intense of Sarah's life. Working with equipment damaged by the alien attack, she and Rex carefully recalibrated each sonic resonator throughout the station. Maya proved invaluable, her small size allowing her to access cramped maintenance spaces, while her natural understanding of acoustics helped fine-tune each node's output. "Mama, this room sounds angry," Maya said as they worked on the resonator in the main laboratory. "The sound bounces too fast." Sarah checked her readings. Maya was right. The lab's hard surfaces were creating unwanted harmonic interference. A simple adjustment to the resonator's position eliminated the problem. "You're brilliant, sweetheart," Sarah said, kissing the top of Maya's head. Rex was monitoring long-range sensors from his portable command unit. "Contact in 4 hours," he reported. 12 ships, heavy cruiser class. They're not taking any chances this time." "We'll be ready," Sarah said, though doubt gnawed at her. The system was untested, theoretical at best. If her calculations were wrong, they would all die when the Kethmoran fleet arrived. As they worked on the final resonator adjustments, Maya made an observation that changed everything. "Mama, why don't we make two different songs at the same time?" "What do you mean, baby?" "Like when I hum and you whistle. Together, they make a prettier sound than just one." Sarah froze. Harmonic reinforcement. By generating multiple frequencies simultaneously, they could create interference patterns that would amplify the resonance effect exponentially. "Rex, we need to modify the timing sequence," she said urgently. "Instead of all resonators firing in unison, we program them to create harmonic interference patterns." "Will that work?" "If Maya's right, it will turn our sonic cannon into something powerful enough to affect ships in orbit." With only 2 hours remaining before the Kethmoran arrival, they frantically reprogrammed the firing sequence. Sarah's hands flew over the controls while Rex coordinated the power distribution, and Maya continued to provide insights that seemed to come from pure intuition. "Done," Sarah announced as the final calculations loaded into the system. "All resonators are synchronized and ready." Rex checked his sensors. "They're here." 12 ships dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Through the station's repaired external cameras, they could see the Kethmoran fleet approaching. The ships were beautiful in their own terrifying way, crystalline structures that caught and reflected light like living jewels. Each vessel was easily 10 times the size of Rex's small patrol ship. "They're hailing us," Rex reported. "Standard surrender demand." "Don't answer," Sarah said. She was at the master control station, her hands poised over the activation controls. "Let them think we're helpless." The fleet moved into attack formation around the planet. Sarah waited until all 12 ships were positioned within the sonic field's maximum effective range. "Maya, cover your ears, sweetheart," she said. "Will it be loud?" "Very loud. But it will make the bad aliens go away forever." Maya pressed her small hands over her ears and nodded bravely. Sarah activated the system. The sound that erupted from Alpha 7 was unlike anything in the known universe. Dozens of massive resonators firing in perfect harmonic sequence, their combined output amplified by the station's entire structure. The sonic wave expanded outward at the speed of sound through the planet's thin atmosphere, then continued as a gravitational resonance through the vacuum of space. The effect on the Kethmoran fleet was instantaneous and devastating. The crystalline ships began to vibrate, their hulls resonating at frequencies their molecular structure couldn't withstand. Cracks appeared along the vessel's surfaces, spreading like spider webs through their crystal matrices. One by one, the mighty warships simply fell apart. Their crystalline hulls shattered into billions of glittering fragments that scattered across space like cosmic snow. Within minutes, the entire Kethmoran fleet was nothing but debris drifting in orbit around Arcturus 3. The sonic pulse faded, leaving behind a profound silence. Sarah, Rex, and Maya stared at the external displays in amazement. "Did we win?" Maya asked in a small voice. "We won," Rex said, his voice filled with awe. "A research station, an engineer, and a 6-year-old girl just destroyed an entire alien battle fleet." Sarah picked up Maya and held her close. "We did it together, baby. All 3 of us." Rex was already transmitting emergency signals to the Human Defense Corps headquarters. "This is Commander Dalton reporting complete victory over Kethmoran raiding fleet, requesting immediate reinforcement and scientific analysis team. The implications of this discovery are staggering." Over the following weeks, as rescue ships arrived and Alpha 7 was fully repaired, the story of Sarah's sacrifice and resurrection spread throughout human space. The sonic resonance weapon was analyzed, refined, and deployed to defend other colonies threatened by Kethmoran raids. But more importantly, the story became a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. A mother's love had literally conquered death, and a child's innocent curiosity had provided the key to victory against seemingly impossible odds. Maya never did get to plant flowers on Earth. Instead, she grew up to become humanity's foremost expert on acoustic warfare, following in her mother's footsteps as an engineer who solved impossible problems with creative thinking and determination. And sometimes, late at night in their comfortable quarters on the rebuilt Alpha 7 station, Sarah would tell Maya stories about Earth's flowers while the twin suns of Arcturus 3 painted the ice fields in shades of gold and crimson. They had found their home among the stars, a place where human courage and love had triumphed over the cold darkness of space. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but humanity would face them together, armed with the greatest weapons of all: curiosity, ingenuity, and the unbreakable bonds of family.